now? I hope you're doing fine. Paul Mack here, and I want to talk to you about one of my favorite farm tools, the adze. The adze is one of the earliest tools that humans used to both shape wood and to dig in the ground, but we are not going to be digging in the ground with any of my adzes. These are implements of woodworking in my shop anyway. So the adze is a perpendicular axe, is kind of the way you can think of it. Instead of the bit or the blade being parallel with the handle, it's perpendicular to the handle. And it's really one of the sharpest tools I keep around here. You know, a farmer's pocket knife, his scythe blade, his axe, and his draw knife, and his adze really ought to be some of the sharpest tools a farmer uses and keeps sharp. The adze is a tool that is swung in stout chopping motions, not huge motions, but medium-sized stout chopping motions toward your feet as you stand. Usually, as you stand on the work that you're working on, or straddle it, or whatever. You can basically think of the adze as a chisel that chisels away the wood and really makes rougher wood smoother. And there are several different types of adze. The shorter adze, Adzes, the shorter ones are generally for shaping, carving, rough shaping wood. This little one is a cooper's adze for, shaping staves that you'd be making kegs or wooden barrels out of, and got a little hammer end there. So basically, and there's all different kinds of small type of adzes, and the longer ones. There's several different types of longer ones. The longer ones basically are generally for smoothing rough-hewn wood. Generally, in the South, you'll hear the adze referred to as the foot adze because, again, I guess that's because you're usually standing on the object you're smoothing, the beam or the plank or whatever. And I basically use my foot as a stop for the chopping motion. That sounds really dangerous, but it's when you use it properly, it's not. I'll show that in just a moment. Common uses in log construction back in the day, when you wanted a wood floor, you didn't always have access to milled lumber that would be tongue and groove, and so you would make your own floorboards. Those were called puncheons. Basically smaller boards that fit between your floor joists, and those were often split from logs and were much thicker and had a little lip on either side that rested on the floor joist. But you can imagine splitting your puncheons from a log. It's going to feel very rough, and your wife's going to be walking around in there barefoot, and your kids, and so you want that floor to be smooth for her. And so the builder would, after he hewed those out and got them to where they would fit, he might take an adze and smooth that over and make it quite a bit smoother with that. Other applications would be like if you're making a bench to sit on, obviously you wouldn't want that very rough. My shaving horse that I use around here, making handles or using my draw knife on and demonstrate that at festivals, you obviously want that to be smooth to sit on, so I used an adze to smooth up the long bench section on the shaving horse. Sometimes these adzes are mistakenly identified at flea markets and auctions as a grubbing hoe. Here's a grubbing hoe head. There's some similarities, obviously they look the same, but around here the grubbing hoe is more for your earthwork, for hoeing and so forth, for moving larger quantities of dirt. So, you could use an adze for that, but you could also use a screwdriver to hammer a nail, but who wants to do that? So the different, they both have eyes. The one difference is that the adze has a square eye, or rectangular, I should say, and obviously a square-ended handle that fits in that eye that's tapered, and the grubbing hoe would have a round eye, kind of like a froe. Adzes are not one of the most common tools. Many more axes. One time I was searching a flea market, as I'm apt to do, and I came across an Adze that didn't have a handle on it. Obviously, it was an Adze. It was a rectangular eye in it, and it had a price tag on it of $6, and it was labeled grubbing hoe. So I was elated to find a $50 Adze head at a $6 grubbing hoe price. That's a bargain you can't look the other way on. Now, unlike the axe, the Adze has a bevel on one side. This side right here. That's where that angle is. So therefore, when you're sharpening an Adze, and again, you want your Adze very sharp, you would sharpen with a file or a stone or whatever from this angle here. So it would be difficult to sharpen an Adze on a grinding stone unless you slip the handle off. And this might get in your way. It depends on, I don't know. Yeah, it might still be impossible to do. So it's probably best to file these with a file or a handheld stone of some kind. Again, if you use a high-speed grinder, be very careful not to overheat it and ruin it. But again, the bevel is on one side, and so you would sharpen the bevel side only and not this side. I mentioned a while ago there's short adzes and then the long foot adze. Well, there's two or three different types of foot adze. One of them is the main one, I suppose, is the carpenter's adze. And I've got, got three of these here, carpenter's adze. They are a little bit heavier than the shipbuilder's adze. I'll show you that in a second. This one is extremely heavy. It looks like somebody used this as a grubbing hoe, because I can see a lot of what looks like dirt wear there. It's not sharp at all. It needs to be refurbished. So the carpenter's adze, a little bit heavier in nature than the shipbuilder's adze. This is a shipbuilder's adze, and I believe I don't know much. I don't know anything about shipbuilding. It doesn't come in real handy on the farm. Well, I guess Noah was a farmer. He built a rather big boat, but it's got this spike end. It's not really sharp. It comes to a flat point right there. You know what? I'm kind of ignorant. I'm not really even sure on a ship application what you would use that for. This one has a curved little finger on it. Looks like it was designed that way. It looks like somebody's pounded things with that one. So if any of you out there are shipbuilders, are friends that live near the coast, and you're a shipbuilder or had a grandpappy that was, tell us in the comment section what these things might have been for, and educate me. I'd love to know that. Anyway, the shipbuilder's adze a little bit lighter, and I've seen pictures of shipbuilders working on beams and so forth, and they might be using it overhead or chest high or head high, so that adze is a little bit lighter than your typical foot adze, and it is good on the carpenter's adze to have a little more weight on it, especially like this one, because it helps you with that follow through. So you've got the carpenter's adze, the shipbuilder's adze, and there's another one. A forest adze, that might be used with forest fire fighting and so forth, where you're having to maybe shape up a trench and dig through roots to fight forest fires. So there is that adze, not real common around here. There's also the railroad adze, which I do not have one of yet. I'm on the lookout for that, but the bit on the railroad adze is a bit longer than your normal carpenter's adze or the shipbuilder's adze. Those were mainly used for shaping up railroad timbers, cross ties, maybe even carving into the tie so that you can put those plates on them. I don't know anything about railroads either. Hey, I farm. Another type of adze that I've seen pictures of, and again, I don't have one of those either, and it's an adze that it's kind of similar to this shape I've seen, and they have a little lip that comes up at an angle this way on either side of the bit, and that is for chopping or shaping across the grain, like if let's say you had a beam and you wanted to put a notch, carbon notch in that beam, you would be chopping against the grain, and so those little lips, which are, have a little sharp edge on them, they can cut the end grain so that you can go against the grain without boogering it up and making it, turning it into a mess. A good handle is fashioned, with this obvious curve in it, and like an axe. Some of them feel different. One adze and handle feels completely different than another one. If you get a good adze, you'll end up getting used to the way yours feels. But these handles are built such that it just feels right. I can't explain it. It just feels really good when you figure out how to use one and you find that sweet spot. It's made such that when you're working with it and chopping and you're taking a bite out of that wood, that you don't dig too deep and that you don't just skim across the top of it without doing anything at all. This was the first adze that I started using, and it's a shipbuilder's adze, and I was frustrated when I first started using it on a log. I would square logs almost like I was making a cross tie, and I would stand on top and try to hew that smooth, and I was frustrated because I wasn't used to the motions of an adze, and you kind of have to practice at it a while. There's this sweet spot that you're whoops, almost knocked that off the bench. There's this sweet spot that you want to find, and it just takes, it's hard to explain, but it just takes a little practice, and you hold it such that it's not going to dig too deep, and you try that a while, and that will frustrate you because you end up taking too big chunks out and you're digging too deep, and you'll mess up the thing you're trying to smooth. And if it's too shallow, it'll skim across uselessly. And so it was hard at first, but you stand on top of your work the way I do, and one foot is slightly forward, my right foot for me, I'm right-handed, and you find that sweet spot and start with with a good stout blows, and you don't want to go crazy with it. It's not like an axe where you just haul off and you might hurt yourself, and so you start with steady, medium-sized blows, chops, and again, you're finding that angle that does just right, and your foot. By the way, this is an activity that you don't want to do barefooted for obvious reasons. When I get started smoothing something with an adze, at first, it's almost like playing golf when like I've seen them on TV. When you put your what's that thing called? A putter down near the ball so that you make sure it's not too far down, not too far up. You want to kind of test it out because you don't want to start out with a big huge swing and then just shortly afterwards realize I've cut my foot off, especially at a demonstration in front of about 20 strangers that you don't know. So you want to make sure that you're at the right spot and then start your just steady chopping like that. You find that sweet spot and your right foot, my right foot is forward, and the bit stops at just under your foot. It's almost like you're kind of controlling the cut. And again, the only way to get used to that is to actually get you a good adze, get it sharp, and begin trying and learning where that sweet spot is. And like me, you might be frustrated at first. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just keep going with it, slow and steady, wins the day, and then you'll figure it out. And once you figure it out, it's really kind of fun to smooth up a rough-hewn log or beam with an adze, and you'll impress. I don't know if you'll impress anybody, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. If you've got a project you're working on, like if you're building a shaving horse and you want to smooth it up, something, or a mantle, a mantle for your fireplace, you want a rough-hewn mantle, and you hew out your beam to the length that you want, to the width and depth, and then you take an adze and you smooth it up so that it looks beautiful when you put stain on it or oil on it or whatever. If you're doing an important project like that, and you're not used to the adze, you might want to practice on the backside or another beam and kind of get used to it, get the feel for it before you start in on something that you really care about or your wife cares about. So I suppose that's all I have to say for now about the wonderful tool the sideways axe, not really, the adze, the sharp adze. If you have something you'd like to add to the discussion about the adze, or you know what this pointy thing is for in shipbuilding, maybe you're a shipbuilding expert, leave that in the comment section. Let us know. Also, if you're, like me, interested in old tools, particularly old farm tools or woodworking tools, come see us at our general store that my family and I own in Caddo Gap, Arkansas. It's Gap Mercantile. I carry a wide range of antique tools, some of them very interesting, planes, try to keep some draw knives there, maybe an adze or two, you never know. I try to keep a wide array of things. Some of them may need a little work, but that's okay. You can figure that out. Some of them might be a little rusty, some of them might be ready to go, but come see us at Gap Mercantile and see what we have. I'm not going to ship them to you. You got to come look yourself. You'll enjoy being there anyway. Check the description below for more information on our little store, Gap Mercantile in Caddo Gap, Arkansas. I'm Paul Mack. This is my favorite farm tool, the Adze, and I will talk at you later.